Welcome to The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We're your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Strawberry Ghost and Blueberry Ghost from Hook and Arrow. Let's heat up. All right, welcome back to The Heat Source. We are having another early morning recording session, and we have a pretty unique sauce that we're trying this week in Hook and Arrow, which we planned on, but it is Hook and Arrow's 2 seasonal sauces for a really great cause.
Yeah, this was kind of an audible sauce, right?
Yeah, this actually got delivered to us Saturday night. It got sent to us after they reached out to us, I think Friday. It was either Thursday or Friday, but it's Hook and Arrow where they have a blueberry ghost pepper and a strawberry ghost pepper sauce that's fundraising for Breast Cancer Awareness Month this month in October. Before we start all this, before we start the sauce, before we get into Hook and Arrow and all that, you've been teasing for a week and a half at least that you had some big things to talk about. And so I'm going to give the floor to you so we can address these very hyped things that you've been talking about for 10 days.
So did you see the video of NASA? They're at their asteroid intercept program.
No.
Did you know about that? Okay.
I did not.
So it's like an Armageddon program.
Mm-hmm.
They successfully flew the first unmanned spacecraft into an asteroid to deflect it if it were to come towards Earth. So this organization, I can't remember who it was. I'll have to look it up. I have the article, but I just have a screenshot of it here.
Yeah.
They wrote an article about it. It's a super cool video. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. Like this asteroid, it looks fake. It's a super cool video. They crash into it. It's a live feed. So this article is talking about that. Mm-hmm. And it says in the article, but at least 3, they're talking about meteors hitting Earth. It says, but at least 3 have caused mass extinctions, the most infamous of which wiped out the dinosaurs. And then the next sentence says Stegosaurus didn't have NASA.
Okay.
So that makes my skin crawl.
Okay, I am unaffected by that. So okay. I'm very excited to see how it's the inverse for you.
Stegosaurus died off 66 million years before the asteroid hit.
Okay.
Stegosaurus has nothing to do with an asteroid. Stegosaurus died off because the shifting of the continents couldn't keep up with the evolution of the predators. He's just a kind of a big, gumpy dinosaur, got wiped out pretty quick.
Okay.
So the equivalent mistake in saying that would be like writing an article about the COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, getting topical here.
Regardless of your feelings on that. The equivalent screw up. This is about dinosaurs, Matthew. Yeah. Focus.
Okay.
The equivalent screw up would be saying, man, it's a real bummer that T-Rex didn't have, T-Rex didn't have Pfizer. That's a real shame. I mean, because that happened 65 million years ago.
Yeah, because it doesn't really affect them.
To me, when I read the article, I'm like, all right, I don't complain about a whole lot. When they changed the recipe for Butterfinger, I would be surprised if the president of Nestle did not see my review.
Does anyone else, this will be a question for anyone listening, does anyone else remember or know when Butterfinger changed the recipe? Were you able to notice? Because Mike...
I took one bite and I spit it out, and I've never officially filed for a review or a complaint or anything. I actually called their customer service line.
Yeah.
And I left a review, and it was a pretty I wasn't mean to anyone. I just talked about how bad their new candy bar is that's new and improved.
That's the line. That's the line that you draw.
And it was pretty funny. The lady on the other end, after I was done, she goes, yep, we've heard something similar to that before. And I was like, okay, so it's not just me. But, I felt strongly enough. Like I said, I'd be surprised after that review.
So I wonder, my first assumption is just they thought of a dinosaur. They listed a dinosaur. They didn't think much of it. And nobody really proved if that was accurate, because everyone kind of just thinks dinosaurs went extinct from the meteor.
Yeah.
My other thought is that's probably his favorite dinosaur, if that's the one he went with. But then, if he's not a big dinosaur fan...
If it's your favorite dinosaur, you should know.
I know. I just, as I'm saying that, I'm like, actually, But then the third thing is, what if it's a mistake based on the fact that the Stegosaurus has some statistical best response in readers? Like, it's just T-Rex is too obvious. Triceratops, those are two like OG dinosaurs. Let's go Stegosaurus and not look into anything else.
I guess don't be wrong.
What would be your preferred dinosaur to use then in that article?
Any dinosaur that was taken out by the meteor.
So if I go
most commonly is T-Rex. Like most well known would be T-Rex.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like, we'll just switch it with T-Rex. And you're like, Matthew, they died 12 years before that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's funny. And kind of another funny side fact. So the movie Jurassic Park, I don't think most of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park did not live in the Jurassic era. They lived in the Cretaceous.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was more of a, what are the good looking dinosaurs? What are the dinosaurs we want in the movie? And then they just were like... It's fine. I mean, in the book, because it's based on the Michael Crichton book, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the book, did it have the same dinosaurs?
Pretty much. The book is actually like a blend of the first and the second movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
as a kid,
Jurassic Park sounds way cooler than Cretaceous Park.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It definitely sells better. But after Jurassic Park came out, I did try to read the Michael Crichton book, but that was like 13.
It's a hefty book.
It is. That might have been why it's so hard for me to read, because after that, it should have been easier, because after that, everything should have been fine.
Yeah.
But that is interesting. That is funny that
that's what I've been mad about for like the last week and a half.
I mean, the only other side of it is, if this was an article written specifically about dinosaurs for dinosaur lovers, it would be a huge, much more... It would be a larger gaffe than this one where they threw in a funny joke that just is inaccurate. But yeah, I get it.
But you're wrong by 66 million years.
It's a bit off, yeah.
Yeah.
just missed it by
it's the
that
equivalent
much.
of just being like, you know what? It's a shame that T-Rex didn't have that vaccine.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can end the podcast now. So.
That's a good one. Well, like, I really, had I had the setup, I should have just been like, hey, let's just record this gripe. We'll just post this little mini thing of like, hey guys, we're not promoting any sauce. We're not trying any sauce. This is the thing you need to be talking about today.
Yeah.
It's like nothing else is important.
I do remember the media outlet was like a well-known, trusted source.
Okay.
Now they're just, gosh darn misinformation.
Yeah. Well, while they're doing their job to put out poorly written articles, Hook and Arrow is doing their part in trying to raise money for good causes. So we can move on to that.
It's good to see that there's some good in the world.
Yeah. And I'm sure the guys at Hook and Arrow would have definitely wrote T-Rex instead of Stegosaurus in that. But yeah, our sauces today, Hook and Arrow, this company, I actually met them. So it's funny, I met them at Boston Hot Sauce Festival. Mm-hmm. But before that, I not necessarily met them, but I saw them on the Hot Sauce Summit that I did, that first summit that I attended. They weren't officially a brand yet. They weren't fully like their official release. So when I went to the Boston Hot Sauce Festival, we had talked about that, and I realized, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember their faces on the webcam or whatever. But they had 3 sauces there, which we do have to try later, and we're going to do that this month as just kind of the reminder for the cause that they're doing. But these were some specialty sauces that we were just talking about before the podcast, like what we're thinking about just before we even try them, what we're thinking about. And like, I went breakfast, and yours was actually a pretty unique one of thinking salad, because like the strawberry one, I've seen salads like, was it the Riviera salad that has strawberries? Or
I don't know, it's just like a walnut strawberry salad, something like that.
And I've always seen it. I've never really done it.
Yeah.
Because it just is a weird, I mean, I've shown Angela a couple recipes where I'm like, hey, here's this thing like this salad and it has strawberries, and she's like, pass this mosquito.
I know.
If there's a loud clap,
there's a real
during the podcast,
it's probably not you.
It's probably Mike clapping, because we've documented on
if you
little bits.
If you hear a dull thud,
the end of episode little bits, there was a handful of them where my hands, as they get closer together, suddenly become insulated in a way that
it's like trying to slap 2 magnets together.
Yeah, exactly. But I was also telling Mike earlier that when I heard that they were doing a pink and a blue hot sauce, I was a little worried, because pink sauce doesn't always make me think of like a really appealing sauce, but this is much more of like a darker pink. It's
it looks like a strawberry. Like if you showed that without a label, you'd be like, oh, it's probably a strawberry.
Yeah, we have like, it's kind of like the color of like strawberry jam.
Yeah.
It's like that nice dark red. And yeah, but I know that I think it was Chopped, where whenever they get weird ingredients, they think, oh, I'll just like melt this down, and then not realizing, pink gummy bears make pink sauce. This is not appealing. And it just looks like some unappealing things. So both of these are, so it's a 2-pack that they sent us in a really nice box that talks about, what they're doing.
Got all their information on there and everything.
Yeah, it comes with a little flyer on the cause, about the company that they're donating to. Yeah, this is a really, like, this was, when I first got the package, I'm like, oh, it's such a small package, I hope it didn't break. And then I felt it, and I'm like, oh, this is packed up nice.
Like, that's double-walled cardboard.
So they got a little story on the side of the box here. I'll read this real quick. So, born out of two brothers' shared passion for food and the outdoors, Hook and Arrow used high-quality ingredients to create unique flavors. Try on your favorite dish, or toss your bottle in the pack and enjoy it wherever your adventure takes you. In addition to creating unique flavors using natural ingredients, our goal is to support causes close to us. This limited edition 2-pack was created to coincide with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And like I said, it's 25% of the proceeds are going to the First Descents. Yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna crack open the bottle of strawberry, because since we're gonna do both sauces this morning, I'm gonna open this one to start.
What I just thought of?
What's that?
Charcuterie board.
Yeah,
haven't tried it yet.
I think we mentioned that on another like fruity hot sauce, but like this is
that'd be perfect for
and
it.
They
like
both on the
cheese.
They've got a 5-ribbon scale for their heat, and they have both of them as a 1. And they did say that was intentional to make this more of a mild, even though ghost pepper, it is interesting to see. Yeah. So it is a mild sauce, but they said part of that was because this is for a cause. They want it to be universal. They wanted it for everyone. And I think it was Spicy Shark that my dad bought at the Boston Festival as well. He bought like their blueberry maple, and it had some type of pepper or heat in it. And he puts that on everything. My kids love it. Like, it's such a low heat that it's almost an afterthought when you're just eating it, and like, unless you're really looking for it. So
sure.
All right, let's see how this goes. This looks pretty good. That's probably the best one we've had. I think that's
the longest one.
It's the longest one for sure.
That was crisp too.
That's probably the best one we've had since like week 3. So this is a very, I don't even know what I'm going to expect with the smell here. It is kind of like, I think of like the raspberry jalapeno jam that I have in my fridge.
It smells like jam.
It has like a jam, but there is that, I mean, ghost pepper isn't a mild pepper, so I did watch, well, I'm going to gently pour this because it seems like a pretty thin pour. Jeez.
I'm going to mess this one up.
Yeah, don't put it over your paper. I did watch on YouTube just last night, some guy took some 8 million Scoville Mad Dog like syrup that is some type of like insane high concentrate, and he dry aged meat like for 30 days. Let's try it before you spill.
I'm not mature enough for this.
Ooh. Strawberry. That's just strawberry with like that back heat. And it's not strong. Like the heat is not strong, but that flavor is.
That is going on.
That's ice cream. Like they put some pictures of some different things in there. And ice cream, I was like, oh yeah, probably. But I would put that on ice cream.
I just
put that on toast.
Like charcuterie board and like a nice goat cheese salad.
That would go really good with goat cheese.
Yeah.
I think one of the days this week is National Moldy Cheese Day, which sounds less appealing than if it was Blue Cheese Day or, you know, some other fancy. That's the moldy cheese I go to. That's really good.
Moldy cheese. I just ate a bunch of blue cheese the other day. I made buffalo chicken dip. But did you ever look at blue cheese up close? It's the blue fuzzy mold. Like if you actually look up close. The same stuff where if you look at a loaf of bread and you see that, you're like, that's disgusting. I'm not eating that,
But it's like if it's weaved through a white cheese, which is the most obvious contrast. It's like, ooh,
Yes. Ooh, yummy.
it's like you want it to be like waves of it, like Wagyu beef, just like
Yeah,
like you want those like fat
veins of
yeah.
mold.
But no, but that one guy that did the dry aged beef with that like insane concentrated Mad Dog syrup, he wanted to show his tolerance to heat. So he's like, I'm going to go through a few things. I'm going to tell you what I think. And it was funny because if you were trying to like make a scale of like, here's the heat range, let's see how I react incrementally. Mm-hmm. He did like 4 or 5 that were, to me, 1s.
Yeah.
And then he did raw jalapeno, raw habanero, and then some extreme bottled hot sauce, like super hot, but it was not as bad as, it was a ghost pepper sauce, so it wasn't as bad as the 2 raw peppers because it's blended. And then he tried to dilute the syrup, but the syrup was not water soluble, so he couldn't. So he did like one little dip with his like pinky and did it, and it was pretty rough. But I'm like, man, it was like, I'm trying to remember what all he did in the first ones. It was like Frank's, Tabasco was like his high heat, his middle heat. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, so if that's what he thinks is like where he's going to like struggle, like his tolerance is low. Right. Like he bit into that raw jalapeno and he was like, oh, that was a mistake. And I'm like, I mean, raw jalapeno is aggressive, but it's not, I mean, you put sliced jalapenos on your mac and cheese last week. I put raw jalapenos in my mac and cheese 2 weeks ago. Apparently we only put raw jalapenos in mac and cheese.
Right.
This is really good.
Yeah, no, I'm digging that one. It's definitely sweet.
Yeah, it's very sweet, but
like
I mean,
if you're not a fan of sweet things, I mean, if
you're not a fan of sweet things, why did you grab strawberry?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, no, it's like it's a strawberry sauce. The heat's really unique. It's a 1. It's there, but it's not very hot. But you get the sensation like it's gonna be pretty hot. Do you get that?
I initially, because I mean, he did tell us, hey, it's not a high heat, so I was prepared for like little to no. And then when that back heat came in, I was like, okay, he said low.
Yeah.
But also sometimes you get, hey, this is a really good introductory sauce. You can try it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not dying, but like, if I introduce this to a few people that want to try hot sauce, they might never try it again.
Yeah. But no, like I don't know how to explain it. And I don't know if anyone else gets this. I'd be really curious. Like, if you eat something more mild, like if you eat a green pepper, in my head, my taste buds, like when they taste that, they anticipate heat coming. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like I can feel what heat is going to taste like or feel like. Okay. And then nothing happens. Do you get that?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Like I kind of get that with this where it's like, here it comes. This is going to be strong. And then it's like, oh, it's just a little bit.
I also just was thinking that this would go really good with the cornbread at the barbecue food truck.
Yep.
Which is going to be 7 minutes from the office this morning or for lunch. So I might need to get cornbread. I'm trying to think of what...
I like how you have it down to like the minute it's going to be there.
Hey, I don't know. It's going to be there roughly between 11 and 2 until they sell out. You know, whatever. Do we have the taco place that's going to be there at like in the evening? The Mata's Tacos? They've got a wet burrito there, but I had a decently large quesadilla yesterday, so... I
did not eat dinner yesterday because my burrito at lunch was so big. I had
half a potato for dinner and like a couple slices of... So we grilled out yesterday, and I'm realizing that sometimes, you know, I've cooked steak in the past when I was, you know, younger and didn't really like research how to properly do it. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes it's not that I cooked it wrong, but I just cut it wrong. Because I cooked the steak and it wasn't any like really amazing cook. It was kind of medium, like a little, like some parts were a little more medium rare. But then I cut it and I was like, all right, I have to go against the grain. And I cut it and it was in a weird angle where I'm like, growing up, I would have just cut it like, this is a long steak. I'm going to cut it, you know, whatever way. And it was so soft and tender. And I'm like, I didn't marinate it overnight. I just like salted it and seasoned it for like 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
And then the grill wasn't like super hot initially, so I had to like, it was like nothing went well, but it was such a tender piece of meat that I'm like,
turned out good.
I'm like, so I just cut it the right way, and that like absolves a lot of my blunders.
That's funny. No, how you cut your meat. I don't know if people actually pay attention to this. Like if I make jerky and if I want a real chewy jerky, which I normally like, you cut with the grain and you're left with a piece of meat that like you can almost not chew. But if you cut across the grain, it falls apart in your mouth.
Right.
Yeah. It's just crazy how you can get two way different things, same cut of meat, just depending on the angle you cut it at. Yeah.
I was surprised by that. So I want to get into a little bit about the company here because we do have a second sauce to try. I keep reeling about what I could try this on. And it's really anything that just lends itself to fruit, to jam, to any real sweetness. Like this would be really good on waffles and pancakes. This would really be good. I don't know. I'm trying to stop thinking about food for a minute to talk about the company. So the founders are, like I said on the box, the founders are Sam and Henry out of Branford, Connecticut. Again, I met them at the Boston Hot Sauce Festival. I know a few other sauce makers. I think they posted on Instagram that after the summit, they met up with Left Lane Pepper Company, who is New York based, I believe. But yeah, so they're two brothers. They started the company back in early 2021. It wasn't necessarily the pandemic startup that a lot of them do of 2020, but it still is affected by the pandemic.
Yeah.
They talk about how the whole idea behind this is they have a love of food, they have a love of outdoors. It was kind of to honor the memories of fishing and hiking and camping trips.
No, I totally understand that because sounds like we share a lot of the same interests. So
well, and we're a big camping family. I go on an annual fishing trip with my dad that I went on with my grandpa. We were going for like 20 plus years. The outdoors, especially in Michigan, it's surprising. It's more surprising to me when Michiganders, lifelong Michiganders, are not outdoorsy.
Don't have something
like something.
Some sort of hobby in the outdoors.
Some people like camping but don't like fishing or hunting. Some people like that but aren't big hikers, or like hunting and hiking kind of go hand in hand because unless you're setting up right off your back deck, like you're gonna hike a bit. But there's always some element of outdoors that usually people like because we have all 4 seasons in Michigan. We have the color change. We have all the lakes to fish. We have, we're right next to Canada that has all other types of outdoor activity. I mean, my family and I went between the Sioux and Wawa north of the UP. We just went to every spot that had hiking and we hiked it with actually my friend Mark and his family.
Yeah.
It was just 1 year that we just did that and we just rented a cabin on the south point of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we started from the top and worked our way back or just was like, anything that has a sign that says hiking, we're going to hike it.
Right.
And there's some cool ones there.
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen videos. I've always wanted to get up to Wawa. There's a Michipicoten River right there. I've always wanted to fish that. But
Wawa's a weird town.
Is it?
It's just like in the middle of nowhere, but it's decently big for being in the middle of nowhere. Because like Wawa is a good size. White River is like one stop sign. Yeah. Hornpain, you don't really drive through Hornpain. You drive underneath it. Mm-hmm. But I just knew it as a gas station.
Yeah. So I feel like Wawa's the last big city before you hit Hudson's Bay.
Yeah. Like that was when I was a teenager and we'd stop there overnight. We'd walk to like the restaurant or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I would just be like, they have kids here? They have like teenagers? But
room school.
But so even though they are doing this fundraiser for breast cancer awareness, normally they do have a portion of proceeds go towards organizations aligned with their mission to conserve land, waterways, trails, and more. So they already do. I feel like we have this with a few sauce companies where their brand is more than just, hey, I like basketball. I'm going to make a basketball hot sauce. Mm-hmm. Patent pending. but
leather flavored.
It tastes like a nice hardwood. But it's something where if I just do it because I like that, like that's fine. But if you're doing something to bolster that side and help that side, I mean, Fayed did it by helping, people in Philadelphia in his hometown. These guys are doing it. Spicy Shark does it for his awareness of like promoting, a positive image for sharks. All this stuff happens, and it's like you don't have to do it, and it's just really cool that they're going out of their way to. I mean, these guys are doubling up. They're doing
right.
They're also doing breast cancer awareness, which is an important fun organization to help combat and help the people stricken with cancer. So they do that fundraiser normally where they have a portion of the proceeds. But I did ask them because they're a newer company. I don't have a lot of articles to deep dive. So I was like, all right, kind of, if we had people on the podcast, one of my first questions would probably be, what is your history with spice? Like, what is your upbringing? Was it a spicy household? Was it, Sam Hastings talks about they would do challenge, he would do challenge peppers at high school or whatever. Mm-hmm. This one, so they're half Polish. So they said they grew up with bold flavors, but it was more along the lines of like horseradish on kielbasa than spicy peppers, which ironically, he sent that. And like 2 days prior, my dad was like, I got kielbasa on the stove. Here's some horseradish. And I'm like,
so funny.
Yeah, I get that.
That's awesome.
And
I understand that. I'm
some of that
Polish too.
Some of that horseradish though can be weaponized. Like my dad has a Bohemian one that luckily he's had it long enough that it's simmered. Okay. But if you did a mammoth tasting spoon size dollop, you would be out for two hours at least.
I think I know what you're talking about because same with our family, big Polish family, a lot of kielbasa. Pretty much any family event.
What's your preferred place to go for kielbasa?
Kielbasa. That could have passed as a Polish word.
It's probably something. I'm going to invent it.
It's probably the difference between like this smoked sausage and like
it's a basket of kielbasa.
Yeah. Lewandowski's.
Yeah,
I like Frank's, but I love Lewandowski's.
I like both, but it is a volatile question with some of my friends where it's like, oh, I got kielbasa. Like, it's not kielbasa, it's Frank's.
I feel like it tears families apart sometimes. Mm-hmm. In West Michigan, depending on where you get your kielbasa, is like it's risky to talk about.
Start a rival kielbasa place. Honestly, not necessarily with kielbasa, but pierogies. Put some sweet flavoring on some pierogies.
That'd be good.
I was just talking to someone about how potato pancakes, they do applesauce and sour cream.
Yeah.
I would introduce different fruit flavors to that.
I can see that, yeah. But where I was going with that, went to Lewandowski's. We always get the beet horseradish and just the regular white. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about it one day and got the stuff with a red cap on it, which I didn't know was the extra hot white.
Okay.
And just, threw a normal tablespoon on a single bite of kielbasa.
No.
And my sinuses to this day are probably still recovering. And that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was dry heaving in the sink when I had mine.
Like you can't breathe.
Mm-mm.
It's like the fumes. I can't fathom someone getting through that whole jar in a matter of months. That would be pushing it. Yeah,
it's just horseradish. I think it might be the somebody at Stanky Sauce was like, oh, horseradish I don't do. Like I don't do anything with that. Where I'm like, I don't blame anybody. It is something where it's so volatile where it's like, why do you eat that? It's like, but also we could say that about like if you did a Carolina Reaper.
Yeah, it's weird. I like to think about the different heats is like it's different than a pepper heat.
Yeah, it's not that it burns. It like doesn't even burn like heat burn. It like
just fumes.
Mm-hmm.
It triggers something in your face where your body wants to reject it.
Yeah,
But you're not like my tongue's hot. It's just I'm in pain.
So when I was in basic training, we'd had to do the gas chamber. We had to go through and they put off. You stand in there, you have your mask, you pull the mask off, then you have to do like jumping jacks. You have to recite some stuff, and everyone's just coughing and dry heaving and all that. I've never felt that with any hot sauce that we've tried. I have had reminders of it with horseradish. So,
so it's more like gas.
So this was a cool thing that they wrote on their blog from their website is, so as they got older, and I feel like this happens with a lot of people, they realized how much their lives were missing out on the outdoors, disconnected from nature. And they know that they were happier and less stressed the more they spent out in nature and had that work-life balance of, I think you do better than I do on the nature balance because I've talked to you an hour after work and you're in a river somewhere fishing. But they had that disconnect that they wanted to kind of recover. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people do that where I think of all the times, we used to have a seasonal camper out by Lake Michigan up in like Whitehall, Montague area. And that's like, oh, that was a great time. It was 3 months of just every weekend we were there. Now we do a couple weeks in the summer. We do like some camping here and there. Angela and I do a little more camping with the kids now. As they get older, it gets easier. Mm-hmm. The puppy hopefully gets trained where that'll be easier too. Then what happened was Henry had left his job and the pandemic caused them to be living together for the first time in 10 years. Mm-hmm. And apparently, according to them, Henry's kind of deemed the creative one. So he started experimenting in the kitchen and produced some hot sauces for like friends and families to try. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is, it's always kind of the first hurdle is, hey, I made something. I like it. Am I ready to share it with friends and family?
Right.
Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. For some reason, it's like some of my family is always surprised. We're like, who cooked these? And I'm like, I made them. And they're like, you cook? I'm like, I've been cooking for a while. Maybe I just don't share it as much. Like I made like beer cheese stuffed pretzel bites or something. And they're just like, these are amazing. I'm like, I mean, I make them all the time.
Right.
I mean, this is the perfected one. I've trialed and errored it a few times.
Right.
Because side note, when I made that the first time, the video that I saw was like, oh, just take a dollop of like cheese, like make it beer cheese, just a dollop of it in there, and then you enclose the pretzel dough around it.
It's never that
you
easy.
solidify the cheese. You make it, you let it harden, and then you like scoop and have make little cheese ball.
Yeah. Because
otherwise, it just like leaks through all the seams.
Yeah.
And they always say like, I'll just get like regular store-bought dough. Make dough fresh, otherwise the seams won't seal.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the powder on shredded cheese. It just like keeps it from sticking.
Yeah. And I did try that one. Had no idea that affected nachos like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A brick of cheese is way better. It is a little bit more messy because then the cheese grater's in like full rotation.
Yeah.
I have the winding, I think it's like a moulis or whatever.
The Olive Garden style.
Kind of. But that only works with like the harder cheeses, really. That is good. It's got that good heat. It does remind me of the jalapeno raspberry jam that I just ate like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
But this is nice. There's not really like the seediness of the raspberry.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they had their friends and family try. They got really positive feedback. And so then Sam kind of entered into the discussion of like, hey, we should really turn this into something real.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the kind of the fun dynamic of it was just kind of messing around in the kitchen, get the response. And then like they're in the moment, take advantage. You know, they live together. They, Henry had just left his job. So I asked him how long the process of making sauce is, because you hear some people talk about years of recipes. Some people talk about Roddy was like, I wanted a Reaper sauce. It was the first sauce that I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to wait for the peppers to grow. So they had 3 sauces that they currently have and have come out with. They had a orange ginger habanero. They had a pineapple jalapeno, and they have a cayenne garlic. So each in its own lane, but like I could think of food. Food is popping up in my head as we mentioned them.
You got a little sweaty when you said those.
Getting a little hot under the collar. The first sauce that they came up with was the orange habanero ginger. And they said that the orange habaneros kind of called out for citrus. I mean, we've talked about the fruitiness of those orange habaneros. And so his one of the favorite fresh squeezed juices is an orange carrot ginger. So it kind of was a natural. Mm-hmm. This needs citrus. This is my favorite citrusy drink. And he said, really, it's a few months of thinking on it before attempting it. But then once they get in the kitchen, it's just a couple days because they've really thought out what they're going to do.
So what did you say the orange one was again?
Orange habanero ginger.
Salmon.
Yeah.
Haven't tried it yet. Sounds good on salmon.
I mean, I would put that on like some chicken, almost like a different type of. Tell Panda Express, hold the sauce, please. I've got my own.
Can you make it dry?
Yeah. There is some Chinese places that they give you the chicken and they give you the sauce. So when you sauce it at home, it's like crisp. Not all the places.
Yeah.
The one place I think of, they closed down. But I know of other places that have done it.
You have to share because that's part of why Courtney is not super big on Chinese food.
Yeah.
It's like, it's good if it's fresh. Mm-hmm. I don't like when it gets, the breading's all soggy and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to let us know on that
if I find another place, I know that there's other places that do it, but I think you might be able just to ask on the side if it's something you're ordering.
Oh, really?
Like Panda Express won't do it because it's already sauced, but like an actual Chinese place, they sauce on the side. Probably.
What do you mean Panda Express, not an actual Chinese place?
Moving on. But yeah, so their orange habanero ginger, the first batch that they made, they hated it.
Really?
They put it in the back of the fridge for weeks.
Yeah.
They had taco night.
Mm-hmm.
They brought it back. Loved it.
It's good to hear a story like that where someone didn't end up in jail or went off to war.
Yeah.
And they came back and their barrel of whatever they were trying to make.
We talked about it before. Who was that? What sauce was that?
Was it Tabasco?
It might have been Tabasco.
Where it's like someone made it, went to jail, came back, and they're like, hey, this isn't bad. Or Verner's or something like that.
It was definitely not Verner's because I don't like Verner's. I'm a terrible Michigander. I don't like Verner's.
Yeah, you must be from Ohio.
So I have family from Chicago. So like maybe that's the Chicago side of me. That's also why I also talk about soda.
Yeah.
I love saying soda. Pop is just not. Pap. I just don't like. I don't know. I'll have to look it up again, but
yeah, no, it's good to hear that it was not any sort of negative event where it's just like, oh, it's there.
Yeah.
So they tried it and it made all the difference.
Flavors melded. It was just something you needed time.
That big of a difference between hating it and being like, hey, this is good.
Also, I think part of it is when you try just a spoonful of something, what we're doing, we're analyzing. But like when you're taste testing, it's better to pair it with a food. Like, okay, yeah, it's okay or it's bad or good or whatever. How is it with food? So when they put it on tacos, it was phenomenal. So
how long did it sit there?
He just said for a few weeks.
Okay.
So not anything crazy. But,
so they didn't tweak the recipe at all? They just let it age them?
He did say that they tried other iterations, but they kept coming back to it. That was the best version. So at Stanky Sauce, they talk about how their mango habanero, one of them says, they're like, personally, it's like, I open it, put it in the fridge, and I try it a couple days later, then I start using it.
Yeah.
So he like lets it breathe.
Right.
You got to let the tannins, I don't know.
That's funny.
But yeah.
Actually, that El Camino hot sauce that I've been telling you about, like my favorite one, if you look at the bottle that's been in my fridge for the last 6 years, that's already open and half gone. Yeah. I'm just afraid to use it because it's an OG sauce. Yeah. Versus the one I found at the store. They're two very different colors. I haven't taste tested them yet. I know it's still fine to eat because I haven't compared them side by side.
I mean, I ate mayo yesterday that was questionable, so I mean, the sauce is probably fine.
I forgot about that, yeah.
It was fine. I didn't get sick.
You're still here, so that's good.
Yeah. I'm like, if I'm not feeling well, I just will blame it on that.
Yeah. But it's crazy how just, open it, let it sit, or, close it, forget about it, worry about it later, and it's totally something else.
So they talk about how there's more time in the thought process that they use. They said the 3 original sauces took about a month or so of planning, but only a few days in the kitchen. And so as far as their 3 sauces, 2 of them I know have won awards. The pineapple jalapeno finished 3rd in the fruit sauce category for the 2022 International Flavor Awards. It won an Artisan Flav Award, which
that's impressive cool. For being that young.
Yeah.
And getting awards already.
Well, on top of that, they had the New York City Hot Sauce Expo, which they do. It's run by the same people that do a handful of them. They did the Chicago one. They do the Portland one. It's the Screaming Mimi Awards. I think it's Mimi. It's MIMI. So I just see Screaming Michigan. But the Screaming Mimi Awards, their cayenne garlic finished 1st place for newbie category and 2nd place for Louisiana style.
That's awesome.
So, and the newbie one, I think they said, is any sauce that's under 3 years. Any company that's under 3 years old.
Okay.
Which right now we're still in kind of that COVID window of like any sauce that started during COVID is still a newbie one. So that's still a pretty drastic category. Yeah. I'd be curious how many sauce companies have had like what the percentage of like, sauce companies in 2019 to sauce companies in 2021. Yeah. Like that jump. Right. Because I feel like it's going to be significant. The mosquitoes are trying to get on the podcast, man.
I know.
He's got things to say.
I think I got him.
He likes the strawberry sauce because it's that nice red hue that he likes. So before we get into any of we'll go into the breast cancer awareness and the conservation facts that I have when we get into blueberry. But I did want to bring in my strawberry fun fact because I have a couple strawberry fun facts. I don't know if you went into strawberries at all.
I did. I went in strawberry parallel.
Okay. Do you know how many seeds are on the average strawberry?
160.
200.
Oh, man.
It's still pretty good. That's really good sauce. I feel like as I'm trying it more, I'm getting a little bit more pepperiness to it, but it's still very fruity.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. Sometimes that heat or that pepper can make it like super peppery. This is very good fruit flavor. And I think if you put it on something, you're just going to get more of that strawberry than anything else.
I like that. Just hit it again after a hot second. That's good.
It is good.
Is there a benefit to leaving seeds in? Do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think. What's the one thing that people can't have seeds? Crohn's? Is Crohn's where you can't have seeds?
I think so. Probably.
Where like cucumber seeds and like
probably.
Yeah. So I know for some people it's a health issue there.
Yeah. No, I just didn't know. Sometimes you get strawberry products where there's no seeds in it.
I know it's the only fruit that has seeds on the outside, which is why technically it's like people say it's not a fruit.
I can't remember what it's called.
Avocado's a fruit. It's just weird to me.
Why is that weird?
It's just weird. I don't know. There's just this awkward silence of you just like looking at me like, yeah, no duh. And I'm just like waiting for you to go,
do we need? Yeah. You might want to sit down.
Okay.
Tomatoes.
I knew that that's one. A fruit. That was on an episode of Full House.
That's
when Uncle Jesse ran off on his. No, he didn't run off on his wedding. Yeah, he went skydiving and then got saved by a tomato truck. That made it a very big point that tomatoes are a fruit because, like, apparently that town is known for growing tomatoes. Don't know why I remember that. Haven't watched Full House in years.
That's so funny.
Still in there. If I can find a picture of Uncle Jesse on a tomato truck, it will be on the photos without context. There is a museum in Belgium known as the Berry Garden that is just for strawberries.
Really?
Yeah. I don't feel the need to go there just for that, but like Belgium seems nice.
Courtney lived there for a while. Where in Belgium?
It just says Belgium.
Okay. Courtney lived in Belgium for a while. I wonder if she's been to that.
Maybe. Yeah. It sounds like I didn't see a lot of good photos of like, it's sad that there were better photos of the Spam Museum in Austin than there were of the Strawberry Museum in Belgium.
Hold on. Isn't the Spam Museum in Minnesota?
Yeah, Austin, Minnesota.
Oh, I was thinking Texas.
That's where Sam Sauce is from.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the Spambassadors greet you into the museum. I like how...
God, it just sounds gross.
I like how this podcast has helped me develop my, like, learning the flavors of hot sauce and learning all of that, but also just random things like knowing Spambassadors or what like are...
Helps you geographically.
Yeah. And now I know 2 Austins that are in the United States for sure.
That's funny.
There's a folklore that says, you know, the strawberries with the double, like the double tips, like it's like the 2 strawberries that like... Yeah. So the folklore to that is if you split that strawberry with someone, you will fall in love with them. So be careful.
Okay. What if there was a double strawberry used in this bottle here?
That's whoever physically split it.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. It's like pulling a wishbone.
Yeah.
It's not splitting a bottle of strawberry hot sauce.
I broke down a chicken the other day and I had a wishbone and I was trying to tell my son about it. And I thought he was going to think it was the coolest thing ever. He could not care less. I'm like, this is a wishbone. And if you pull it, I said, whoever has the larger side, their wish comes true. Like, what do you think? And he's just like, can I have milk, chocolate milk? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay.
That's so funny.
And then my last strawberry fact. Do you know the 3 largest producing countries of strawberries? It's not very difficult.
Plug your ears. He landed right on my paper. Got him.
The mosquito is dead.
That's also... I'm starting a little pile down here because...
That'll be our mascot. Well, mosquito...
Oh my God, there's 3 of them now.
I have the door closed, so I don't know.
What is going on? Do you have standing water in here?
What I think is we had the garage door open yesterday when we were doing yard work.
That's what it is.
And they got in.
Okay.
That's my bad.
Anyways. Oh gosh, I did know this. I saw it in my research. California's the largest state producer. Florida is number 2.
California produces 90% of the U.S.'s strawberries.
That's crazy. So yeah. I feel like California
Florida's 8%. So
yeah, that's nuts.
So like the strawberries in Traverse City that we get that are like so good, it's like fractional.
Yeah. You can't beat Michigan strawberries though.
They're delicious.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just because they're like hyper local to us where you can't in the springtime you can't drive 2 minutes without seeing a strawberry stand.
Trying to think, Angela and her sister-in-law, we were at their cabin and they went off for like 2 hours to get strawberries. And we're like, why is it taking so long? And they brought back like just big flats.
Yeah.
And it was, the best strawberries that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that has been close to rivaling it is like farmers markets when you go during the right season. Mm-hmm. But they were getting them like right from the field. And it was like, and they were tiny too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're not as big. It's like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like the size is not important. It's the flavor.
Right. Speaking of California, so real quick. Sorry to hijack your fact here.
That's fine.
But I have a quick bone to pick. I went to California. It's crazy dry there.
Yeah.
It's like you have a band of green vegetation 20 yards off the beach, and then it's just dry as far as you can see. It's like, we should farm this place. There's no water. Let's farm it.
That seems silly.
Isn't that funny though? Because like a lot of things, I feel like California produces. They're I know geographically they're really big, but they're always like at the top of the list of they produce the most of this, produce the most of that. But you're there and you're like, man, it's really dry here. Like, where are they getting the water from?
If you were given the option of like, here's the conditions of the different states and areas, like where do you think the farming is happening? It's like that would not be on anyone's list.
All right. Anyways, I don't remember where.
So China's number one.
Really?
China's the easiest one because it's just big.
Yeah.
China, U.S., Mexico. China, 3.2 million tons a year. U.S., 1 million tons. It was like 1.2
That's not even
million
close.
tons. Nope. And Mexico, 860,000. Those are the only three over 500,000 tons.
Really?
But yeah, California and Florida, 90 and 8%.
I didn't know it was 98%. That's crazy.
Do you have any strawberry facts you want to get into before
I did.
we talk score?
So the Navajo Indians, the Native Americans, Southwest Indian tribe, they found the wild strawberry, to be like a very medicinal plant to them. I already screwed it up. You were supposed to guess the largest Indian tribe in the United States, which is the Navajo.
It's like Cherokee, Iroquois.
No, it's 300,000 members of the Navajo Nation.
Is it Navajo or Navajo? Because I've always said Navajo, but I don't know if that's right.
No, I don't know. I'm from Michigan. I'm exempt from all vowel pronunciations.
This is the portion of the episode where Roddy had to explain the proper pronunciation of all the stuff that was on the back of his bottles.
Really?
I'm like, I don't know what these foods are. He's just like, this is how you say it. And like, even Piken was just like, this is a soft Y. I'm just like, I feel like I'm
from Michigan,
child in school that doesn't know how to say words.
I don't know how to do vowels.
But yeah, so the Navajo, so there's medicinal. I know strawberries and blueberries both are like, are they superfoods?
I don't know. I think blueberries are because they're antioxidants. Yeah. But yeah, they just highly regard the strawberry as a very medicinal plant, which I didn't know that was the largest tribe. I don't think if you told me to name the 5 largest tribes in the United States, I don't think the Navajo would have made the list.
I don't know why Iroquois always is stuck in my head. I don't know if it's just something that was brought up in school more or if there's something that I remember from it, but Iroquois and Cherokee are the two things. I don't know if those are, I don't want to speak that I know different tribes, but like those are the ones that pop in my head. Yeah. So we were the Holy Name Warriors in grade school. So should know. Yeah. It was similar to now the Washington Commanders, but it was a similar logo to them where it was a side silhouette of an Indian with a headdress. This is fitting. This is a outdoor hot sauce company. They want you to embrace the outdoors, and we have mosquitoes.
Is that what you're doing?
Swirling around.
You wanted the atmosphere of swatting mosquitoes.
Released just a whole batch of mosquitoes.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, no, I thought that was super interesting.
No,
being that big. And their territory, I forget how big it is. Gosh, I think they said it was like the size of Virginia.
Okay, that's pretty.
Yeah. Like it's substantial. It covers, I think, like 4 states.
It's pretty big. Like now, it is sad that it's down to that when we first got here. And I say we, I didn't do it.
We're like, oh wow, it's so big. It's like, well, it used to be like the West.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
it's a downer. Let's get into the score of the strawberries. And then we'll move on to blueberry. Oh man.
What'd you have?
We had a heat as 1 on here. I had it as an 87.
Okay.
I had it pretty high. It is kind of its own lane.
Yeah.
So like it's promoting strawberry and ghost pepper. Those are the flavors coming through. The strawberry flavor is present at the beginning, at the end. I don't have any bad aftertaste with it.
No.
And so it delivers the appearance of it is like a nice red. So yeah, it is a higher one, but I think part of it is just it's its own lane.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was thinking along the same lines. I tried to stick with what I've been doing and staying within just kind of that. Like graded this by itself. Yeah, it's its own lane. I was like mid 70s.
Yeah.
I had it as a 68, trying to keep in mind everything else we've already had.
Okay.
Good sauce though. I like it. But it's so vastly different. It's like, I don't think we've had one hot sauce yet where we're like,
I don't know. I've got one sauce that I got at the Boston Fest that's got raspberry. I don't think I have anything with strawberry. Mm-hmm. So it is very much, and I know that Spicy Shark did some blueberry things and some different like syrups, maple syrups and stuff, but it is definitely its own thing. But again, on our score out of a 100 point scale, above 50, we recommend to buy. This is one that, yeah, especially all the foods that we've listed, it's going to have its own place. Like it's not, I have 7 bottles of hot sauce in my fridge that I could use on anything, which also means none of them go down super fast.
Yeah.
This one I could be done within a week.
Yeah.
Like honestly. Above 75 is something we'd have in our kitchen. The 25 to 50 is not necessarily like something you have to go out and seek, but like it's fine. It's good. And then below 25 is not for us, maybe for you, but this one is definitely for us.
Yeah.
So
if you plan on eating goat cheese at all, the next, which I do.
Yeah, this would be.
I'm gonna be using
honestly,
this.
If you did a charcuterie board and you got some like wild game involved in that, having a hook and arrow themed sauce,
that'd just be fun.
Like honestly, picturesque would be.
Yeah.
I feel like the guys probably already are like, oh, they already know what photo shoot we're doing next with these. Like they are the ones that did the wet burrito that had the beautiful photographed wet burrito where I'm like, yeah, their photos are way better than ours. I even asked them like, what tripod do they use and stuff. They had the video that they did of when we recommended the cheat code in Punch Out.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out. They did the video of that. Like they definitely listen and go like, that's a cool idea. And then they take it another level.
Yeah.
So I could see them going like, yeah, charcuterie board. Or we'll do a wild game one. And just like a skull with horns coming out of it behind it. And like this whole.
Yeah. I don't know what they hunt for, but a goose pastrami. Some goat cheese.
Never heard the phrase goose pastrami before. Pastrami before. Because I can't pronounce it, probably. All right. So this is the blueberry ghost pepper. Let's open up the seal on this one. The opposite of what happened last time.
You had a good start, and then it started well. Perfectly split the perforation.
It's got a deep V like Simon Cowell's T-shirt is what happened here. That's what happened. It did not.
Oh, you should have taken a picture of it.
I should.
And then just Photoshop Simon Cowell's face on the.
I'll do a who wore it better. Grab a quick photo. I broke the bottom of the seal, but
who wore it better? That's so funny. A+ for color, not only on the strawberry, but that blueberry. It's just like another level of blue.
All right. So this is the blueberry ghost. This one is a nice.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it. It's very pretty.
This is a good looking. Again, I say sauce, but in my head, I'm just like, this is a good looking jam. Okay. I mean, again, same kind of fruitiness, but I still smell.
They're very similar.
If you don't know what the pepper, like when you have peppers in a sauce, if you don't know what that smell is, you would smell that and go, something's off. Mm-hmm. Something's different. But let's see. I'll do the pour on this one. This one's like almost a syrup. Maybe it's just the dark color makes it seem a little bit more. It's still pretty watery. I'm excited.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
oh gosh.
just
Eat it quick.
Do it. The
That's
nice thing
ridiculously good.
I mean, the ingredients, blueberries, white balsamic vinegar. Oh, that's a good addition. Cane sugar, water, lemon juice, lemon zest, sea salt, ghost pepper. Like, it's very simple, very clean. They do all natural, natural sauces.
I'm not going to lie. I was excited to try it, but at the same time, I was very leery of making it work.
So my worries
these work really well.
One of my worries, especially when it's a sauce, and I don't know why, because like they talk about how they think it through and then they go to the kitchen, they really spend the thought process of it. But whenever you hear like, hey, I'm releasing this sauce for this thing, not with sauce makers that we've ever seen, but like you worry in other things, sometimes people do things more gimmicky. It's like, hey, I'm going to do this just because of, but these sauces are very flavorful. Honestly, I don't know which one I like more. Like the blueberry.
I think I like the blueberry more. I love the strawberry. The blueberry's got just like, I don't know. It's just very well done.
Yeah. I would mix either one of those. Like, the at IHOP where they have the different flavored syrups. Yeah. You can mix either one of those with a maple syrup and just make it a nice fruity syrup.
I just want this on a waffle.
Yeah. Man, I thought about,
That's good.
I did think at one point about bringing a toaster in and I've got those toaster, French toast. It's like a French toast, but like it's divided into 4 quadrants, so you can make little French toast sticks out of them, but you throw them in the toaster. I thought about bringing those in and dipping them. But the logistics, and also I figured that would be the time my kids would wake up and demand something in the toaster.
I should have brought it. My wife and I, we got engaged in Norway, and someone got us, like Norwegians love these very thin waffles. They're like heart-shaped waffles.
Yeah.
So we got one of those waffle makers. Haven't used it yet just because, I don't know, we've been busy. But that would be perfect for that, where they take those little heart-shaped waffles and they'll fold them up and they'll dip them almost like tortilla chips, but they're waffles. They go really good with
The only thing that worries me about getting a waffle maker is the cleanup after. I know that like if you do it right, it doesn't really leave a big mess, but I'm assuming I'm going to do it wrong at least to start.
The nonstick will be totally fine.
Yeah.
It drips out the sides. You know, everything around it's dirty. The inside's totally fine.
Yeah, I want the little waffle ones where it's like the size of like a silver dollar, but it's like an inch thick.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I really want. But I'm going to get into, before we get into any blueberry facts, I want to get into some of the causes that are important to Hook and Arrow here, that are important to Sam and Henry. So Breast Cancer Awareness Month is the month of October. I talked about 25% of proceeds will go to First Descents. So First Descents, on their website, they talk about they provide life-changing outdoor adventures for young adults ages 18 to 39 impacted by cancer and other serious health conditions, which is a really cool...
Oh, for sure.
I mean, getting out outdoors in general as a young adult is really important, but having those opportunities when you have these medical conditions that either financially or just situationally aren't as easy to get out there too.
Yeah.
And they said on their website, they said over 80,000 young adults are diagnosed with cancer every year. If you want more information how to help First Descents besides buying the sauce, which is the easiest way because you get delicious sauce, www.firstdescents.org is their website. But that was just a really cool, initially I'm just like, oh, they're going to do a charity for like cancer research or whatever it might be. And those are all great causes, but this is one that lines up perfectly with their message and also helps. You know, it's important to try to do what you can to help, you know, fight cancer and try to find a way to combat it. But also there's a lot of people that are already struggling with it or have struggled with it that doing something for them.
It's a cool concept with that organization because it's at an age range, like you have the Make-A-Wish Foundation for kids that I'm assuming are under 18. I don't know what the cutoff is for Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I feel like it's focused more around definitely children, where it's like they have a lot of support there. That's a very big organization. Could always use more, but it's big. And then, you know, you tend to have, I feel like most of your cancers in your later stages of life where, you know, a lot of those people have already got to experience a lot of things. And then there's this age range in the middle of 18 to 39, you said?
18 to 39. Yep.
Yeah, where it's like supposed to be the prime of your life, best time of your life. And then you're totally impacted by this horrible thing. You know, and so to have an organization where it's like, you know what, let's still try to give you the time of your life and in, you know, what's supposed to be the prime of your life. So it's a cool niche right in the midlife.
Right.
Where I feel like there's not a whole lot of focus. Like, is it super common for that age range? No. Is there still, would you say, 80,000 people a year in that age range? You know, that's a huge number. That's 80,000 people affected. That's a whole college football stadium packed.
And I did read one thing specifically for breast cancer, that 3.8 million breast cancer survivors are in the U.S. currently.
3.8 million?
Survivors, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you think about the people that, you know, could get it, you think about the people that are struggling with it, then there's the people that have made it out, that took away a portion of their youth or whatever might be, you know, focusing on this. But in that, they said part of that is early detection is key. So like 3.8 million survivors, you shouldn't go like, oh, well, I don't have to worry about it. Early detection is what?
Yeah, that's probably, you know, found it. I don't want to say immediately, but found it very early on. You know, so
which we had mentioned, I think, before the pod, where it is predominant in women, but men do get breast cancer. But it's 1 in 8 women develop breast cancer, while 1 in 1,000 men. But that's not. I mean, that's still
happens.
Still a lot.
Not very comparable.
Yeah. And it does talk about how family history does increase your risk. So if you have family that has had breast cancer, that is something you should be diligent on checking, you know, staying focused. Screenings are critical because they do say that symptoms do vary for everyone, and some people just don't even have symptoms.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
not
scary.
I'll know when I think something's off.
Right. It's at a unique age too, where like even for me, you know, it's something I think about. Like I have my family has a history of cancer. A handful of people that I know personally, my age, have had cancer. But you're also at a weird time when you're coming out of your younger stage of life, and now all of a sudden my knees hurt when I get out of bed. You know, you're starting to get into the
Been pulling weeds for 2 days. My hands can't even make a fist
Matt's
right
got
now.
carpal tunnel going on.
Probably.
But you're at a unique stage where it's like, is something wrong, or is this just me naturally getting older and my joints are starting to, you know, get a little bit achy?
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like specifically in this age range, it's hard to detect. It's not something you think about. You're not like, you know, maybe I have cancer. You're like, I'm probably just getting older, and this is what people talk about when, I'm getting old, you know, it hurts to do this now. Well, so it's kind of a scary time because you don't really know. You don't want to raise false flags and do that, but you also don't want to ignore it.
Well, when I talked about, I think on our very first episode, my friend Pat, he died of colon cancer, where I'm like, right after that or during that time, I was the most paranoid of like anything where I'm just like, anything irregular, I'm like, I need to go check with the doctor. Like, because, and especially because it happened to them, him and his wife were very like, you need to get checked. You need to, you know, make sure, be proactive. If they say don't wait till you're 40, tell them that it's in your family history. Just tell them something to get screened. I'm just like, I know you're trying to help me, but you're also making me very nervous.
Right.
It is something where they just want to make sure people catch it as early as possible because.
Yeah. So I don't know. I never met Pat, but I know you and a couple other coworkers knew him pretty well. Mm-hmm. But no, I definitely think about that where I'm like, now because of what he went through.
Yeah.
And you guys tell me about it. Now I'm definitely paying attention. Like, is this normal for me or is this something that's changed?
Yeah. I don't like go to the doctor like more. I do message them a lot more. Where I'm just like, hey, I noticed this the last week. Like, we good? Like, this is what I'm worried about. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're fine. Yeah, this is fine. I'm like, all right, sorry.
Yeah. No, I went to the doctor last week and it was, to me, like something changed. And I was like, I should probably get this checked out. You know, could be this, could be a lot of things. Doctor was like, no, you're good. Like that just happens. I'm like, are you sure? Because that is not normally what happens for me.
Like it's never happened before. I'm like, well, you were younger.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty much what it was where, you know, had a copay. That was the only negative thing that came out of it, you know, so got cleared, but yeah, you got to check. You got to know about it.
Now, their focus right now is on getting money raised for the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but they also do a lot for conservation. So I did get some conservation facts.
I'm with it.
These conservation facts are brought to you by my friend Mark Kenyon from Wired to Hunt, hunter, conservationist. He wrote the book That Wild Country. And I texted him.
Professional pitcher now?
Yeah, professional first pitch pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. And I told him of all the things that he's done in his life. That one is the coolest to me. And it's just as simple as like, I don't know anyone else that's going to be throwing out a first pitch of my friends. They've all done different things, started their own businesses, done whatever. But I'm like, till another one does a first pitch. I don't know. Had I known early enough, I would have gone to that game.
Yeah.
But also, it would have been a Thursday drive to Detroit.
Yes, 6 hours to watch one pitch. The day after, should probably hit the road.
Yeah, the day after my dog got fixed. That'd be a real hard sell.
The classic Midwest leaf. See the first pitch thrown and just slap the knee of, well, suppose I should head back home.
Yeah, but it was a good game. There was like a 2-1 win. So it was a nail biter. But
the Tigers won?
Tigers won.
That's crazy.
I know.
That would have been the day to go.
He's a motivator. So some of the facts that he gave me just about conservation and public land. So we have 640 million acres of public land in the U.S. We're losing 2 million acres of open development across the rest of the country every year. The other thing specifically to whitetails, because he is a whitetail hunter, in the 1800s, whitetail deer population plummeted 99% across the country down to a few thousand due to development, market hunting, and habitat loss. But with hunter regulations, voluntary bag limits, and conservation efforts, they've recovered to higher numbers than ever, roughly 30 million roaming our backyards.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It is something where this talks about how important it is to protect the land because it is something that still is a battle. but also how things, even when they look dire, can be recovered not very quickly, but over time can be recovered to even better numbers than the way they were.
Yeah. It's really amazing kind of the effort that's been put forth that isn't really seen. I know someone that Mark is good friends with, he said when he was a kid, he's like, yeah, we would go out hunting. He's like, if we were kids and we saw a deer track, he's like, we ran home and we told people about it. He's like, that's how few there were. Now, just on my drive here this morning, I almost hit a couple deer. There's just deer all over the road. Same with turkeys. Like, turkeys is another success story.
Like 5 turkeys that come in my backyard every day.
Yeah. It's another success story where my dad's like, nobody ever saw him. He's like, you would hear of some guys drawing a tag.
Yeah.
And it was just like this mythical thing. Like, how on earth did you get so lucky to draw that tag?
Turkey would be a weird one to explain to somebody if they never saw a turkey.
Yeah.
Like the weird bird where it's like, oh, so it's a bird, so it flies. No, it doesn't fly. Like, it tries. It won't. It doesn't.
Flies, flops on the ground. Not very good at it.
It has this weird red hanging thing. And it's like.
The head's all raw. Changes colors. Like,
it does sound mythical.
Yeah. I mean, just that effort of, years and years and years. So hunters I don't want to say it was hunters that knocked the numbers down.
Right.
There was like a commercial market, which is not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of weird cultural things that just don't happen anymore that led to that. It wasn't just a bunch of what we call hunters today. That definitely played a part.
Hunters, but the term hunter has really kind of changed in so many ways over time, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because the hunters that you see now and the hunters from 100 some years ago, I feel like are two totally...
Yeah. Like back then, market hunters were almost like farmers at the time. It's like, we have a job to do. We need to feed people. That's how they did it.
Yeah.
Now you look at hunters today, it's like, if you go to a restaurant and get venison, it's farm raised.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single item that's wild that you can get at a restaurant.
Right.
Other than maybe shellfish, stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it has to be, very, very, very heavily regulated.
The and the interesting thing is, like, these guys at Hook and Arrow, they love the outdoors, they love fishing, they love hunting. What a lot of people sometimes think is they're like, oh, conservationists are going up against hunters. Those usually are the same person. Like, honestly, one of the famed conservationists, actually the father of wildlife ecology is his term, was Aldo Leopold.
Yep.
Which I'm sure you...
Sand County Almanac.
I wasn't going to, like, even be like, hey, have you ever heard of Aldo Leopold? Be like, yes, I'm a human that likes the outdoors. Yes, I do. But I did one of the podcasts. It actually wasn't Mark's. It was that one I sent you a screenshot of, the conservationist. I think it was, I forget the name of it. But they were talking about Aldo Leopold, which I am not as familiar with. But a quote I found of his is, conservation is a state of harmony between men and land, which I think is more appropriate than somebody thinking conservationist hunters, like, different dynamics. It's like, it's a harmony. And part of that harmony is you still hunt and fish. Like, that is an important part of the nature of, like, fishing that we do up in Canada. They have different restrictions of, like, you have certain slot size and all that. It's like, this is the way to do it. You can't, I mean, if you didn't have that, I would be shocked if there wasn't just, a handful of idiots just, like, pulling barrels of fish, just oh, I can take these all. I'm not going to eat them all, but I'm just going to take them because I can.
And the way it's set up now, it's it's pretty much, if everyone that we expect to participate participated, would they hurt the population? No. So it's pretty, there's a buffer there where it's like something would have to seriously go wrong and be unregulated, which, again, I can't think of anything that is right now. But it's our system's fairly bulletproof. Yeah. I would say very bulletproof. Let's see, in 5 weeks, there's going to be some schools that won't even, like, school is off for some cities. Yeah. Where it's like everyone's just going to be gone hunting. That's the thing. Half the state go over half the state probably. I don't want to say that. It's a lot. It's enough to the point where cities shut down. Yeah. Where it's like, all right, we're busy. Everyone knows where we're at. We'll catch you tomorrow or something.
Also, side note, because it was brought up on the last episode, I do have new headphones, and I do feel right for the not the first time in a while, it's just since the last one. Yeah. But it is the longest headphone cord that I've ever had. So I'm like, I have this, like, a spool
that's what that is.
Of cord. So I want to get in a couple blueberry facts. I know I already joked that this was going to be the longest episode. Yeah. And I think it will be. Because there is a lot of important stuff to talk about. There's 2 sauces, both really good. But blueberries blueberries were called star fruit by indigenous people for its star-shaped blossom on the top.
I did know that.
Which is funny that you brought up the indigenous people for the strawberry one. A single blueberry bush, want to guess roughly how many blueberries in a year a single blueberry bush will produce?
Oh, I saw this fact, and I thought, man, that's a low-hanging fruit. Matt's going to grab that one. Was it 2,000?
That seems insulting.
Was it Sorry.
Like, oh, that's so obvious.
No, I meant like you normally do your research before I do.
Yeah.
You're usually prepped like weeks in advance. Is it 2,000?
6,000.
6,000. That's a lot. Considering like blueberry bushes aren't that big.
For a blueberry bush, for one blueberry bush in a year. And you think of you look at a field of blueberry bushes and you're just like,
it's a lot of blueberries.
Yeah. That's probably all the blueberries my son eats. Blueberries and cherry tomatoes. He can't get enough of them. Blueberries are Canada's most exported fruit.
Makes sense.
I mean, that was one where I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't, the scale didn't really tip one way or the other of like, wow, or like, no, that can't be true. I'm just like, fine. Like, all right. And then my last one, which I found interesting just because of some of the topics we talked about, consumption of blueberries have been linked to health benefits, including reduced risk of cancer, increased insulin response, reversal in age-related memory loss, and lowering blood pressure. I feel like I'm going to need all of those.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, this sauce then.
Yeah.
And what, capsaicin's good for your heart?
Capsaicin's good for the heart. It has, I don't know anything about white balsamic vinegar other than I like vinegar. Lemon juice, lemon zest, those are all good. A little bit of sea salt.
All right. I had 2 for mine.
Okay.
So grizzly bears love blueberries. They eat a lot of blueberries. Do you know how many blueberries a grizzly bear can eat in a day? This blew my mind. I couldn't wrap my head around this one.
In a day. I just burped. 1,000.
20,000.
That's wait. That's 3 1/3 bushes for a year.
Yeah.
All right. So
grizzlies can eat up to 20,000 blueberries a day.
Now look at that field of blueberry bushes again. And
that's enough to get a grizzly bear.
3 1/3 of those are just a 1 day's worth of bears. Oh man.
Yeah, that's nuts. And then also, this is my favorite fact. So the color blue is one of the, if not the rarest color in nature. So it's pretty neat.
Did see that because the blueberry is the only food that's grown that is naturally blue.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even think of other things that are blue because everything I think of after that is kid based. So it's blue raspberry popsicles.
The sky. Yeah. There's a type of tarantula. Blueberries.
The rings on an octopus.
Rings on an octopus. Like some butterflies. But other than that, I mean, it's not common.
Yeah.
I think we probably named the only things that are blue.
Yeah. Blue jay.
That's funny.
Oh my god, that's it.
Yeah.
The eyes of what's the dog with the blue eyes? Blue dog. Is
that considered nature? We definitely made that.
Yeah, we definitely did some crossbreeding on that.
Yeah.
Crossbreed it and had them like soak in a bath of blueberries. Anyway.
Is that how we got there?
Sure. All right, so I have my score on this one.
Yep.
And again, this is a 1 level heat, but it is present, so it's not one where it's like nothing, but it is definitely a presence of heat. I had 84.
I had 73.
So similar lane for you, similar lane for me. Like we both kind of had different, like we both liked the sauces. It's just kind of how we graded it was a little different based on, I'm looking at like very fruit based.
Yeah.
Where if someone's like, oh, like what are your plus 85s? And I'm like, well, strawberry, ghost pepper, and then like pina denata from Sam's House.
Yeah.
It's like, those are drastically different. And like, yeah, if you're looking for like hot sauce, I'm probably going to go this one. But if you're looking for something that has a unique flavor, this is as up in there, but it's much more of it's almost like a hot sauce jam.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I love the raspberry jalapeno jam I have, but I can only really spread it on toast. This is that in more liquefied form that I can put on a lot more, dip a lot better.
Right.
Put it with like some cream cheese on a bagel.
Cream cheese.
Oh.
Dang.
Yep.
Okay.
And so
I like them. They're good.
So, yeah. So again, it's another one that we recommend you buy. There's the 2-pack that you can get. But if you do want to buy your own bottles of hot sauce, which we definitely recommend, Hook and Arrow, their website is hookandarrow.co. It is a 2-pack that you can get on their website. They do have free shipping for orders over $60. So if you were to get the 2-pack, which is a $30 2-pack, you can get 2 of those as gifts. You got free shipping. Or you can get the 2-pack and you can get, the other 3 sauces, and you would also get over $60. So you could get their full array, get free shipping. Check them out on Instagram. They do a lot of good Instagram content on there. They do a lot. They're much more professional with their photos than we are. A couple other things, not necessarily special thank yous, but this is more just some things going on right now. I posted about it this week. Stanky Sauce is doing a fundraiser for hurricane relief down in Florida. There's still a lot that can be done and needs to be done down there.
It's going to be needed for a while.
Yes. And so for every $10 that you donate to one of the 4 listed groups that they have on their Instagram page, you get an entry into I think they have up to 4 or 5 different $500 valued prizes. Hot sauce companies, seasoned companies, pepper companies, they've all donated a couple bottles. Where if you think of hey, I'm going to get, 10 bottles of sauce or 15 bottles of sauce and some season packets, that's a lot of money that you're getting for even just a $10 donation. But then also, on top of that, Lost Capital Hot Sauce is promoting a GoFundMe for High Desert Sauce Company. High Desert Sauce Company was the one that did the keynote speaking at the first summit that I attended. Mm-hmm. He also had a hot sauce on Hot Ones, a little bit infamous because his co-packer, by doing some things incorrectly, made the hot sauce bottle basically a bit of a grenade. It was pressurized. They opened it.
Really?
Big issue where he had to then go through and with the help of the hot sauce community was able to replace and correct it on that side, but there was a major loss of funds dealing with his co-packer. So they are doing a GoFundMe where every $50 you donate, you get a signed bottle from one of those 2 sauce companies. If you donate $100, you get a 4-pack of their sauces.
Nice.
So again, even though you are donating and it is just, a donation, to help a cause, you are still getting something in return, which is a benefit to you as well. So I feel like it's all right, we're doing this thing for breast cancer awareness. You should definitely get this sauce. And then these 2 other things were happening where I'm there's a lot of things going on right now.
Right.
But wanted to mention those. But otherwise, I think we are all set where now we have to debate who gets what bottle of sauce and what breakfast food we're going to put it on, or the cornbread at lunch. I forgot about that. So if you have any recommendations or any other comments about the podcast, what you think, please either go to your podcast streamer of choice and rate and review, or send us a message on Instagram at the Heat Source Podcast. Also, that's where you can find any updates. Other than that, that is our episode. I know we'll be doing their other sauces on a quickfire this month. I just don't know when. So keep an eye out for updates on that.
I'm excited for those.
It's as fruity as these are. Those are going to be some really good flavors. I'm already anticipating, even though it's been forever when I tried them at the Boston Sauce Fest.
I want to try that Louisiana style.
Yeah. So that was the one. Actually, quick side note, that was the one I sent to Mark Kenyon. I shipped it to him in his house over in Idaho. Mm-hmm. And just so the guys, Sam and Henry, I didn't update them on this, he has it there, but he is not there right now. So when he gets back to the cabin, he will try it. But I am going to, next time I see him, I'll have to bring some of this sauce and have him try it there as well. So yeah, so other than that, everyone have a good week, and we will talk to you next week.
See you.
I would try to clap, but I'm afraid.
Just because your hands are sore, or are you afraid it's going to be too loud, which you shouldn't worry about?
Disrespectful. It's disrespectful.